In this video, we're going to examine place-value relationships. So thus far, we've only looked at numbers less than 1,000, numbers that had at most 9 in the hundreds, tens, or ones places and didn't carry over. Now we're going to extend this base 10 number system to include larger numbers. So here's a summary of place value. Let's highlight as we go. Our place value system is partitioned into groups of 3, all based on hundreds, tens, and ones. So looking at these, we're calling this subgrouping. The ones subgrouping, it has hundreds, tens, ones. The thousands subgrouping has hundreds, tens, ones. The millions has hundreds, tens, ones, etc. Each place value is 10 times as large as the unit to the right of it. So we saw this when we were working with the base blocks. So 10 ones is 110. So 10 is 10 times as large as 1. When we took 10 rods, that made 100, or 1 flat. So 100 is 10 times as large as 10. This would continue if we had 10 hundreds, that would make up 1,000, etc. And all of these relationships are listed here, showing that every time you move one place to the left, it's 10 times as large in our place value chart. So that's why we call it place value. The place of the digit relative to the other numbers determines the value of the number. So this is our chart, and we're going to use this idea to look at some relationships. So here's our problem. Use a place value chart to fill in the blank with the appropriate place value number. So we're asked 10 million is blank times larger than 100,000. Well, let's highlight these place values. If we go to the millions place, this is the 10 millions place. And if we go to the 100,000s place, it's right here. So we want to compare these. So remember, every place value to the right is 10 times as large. So 1 million is 10 times as large as 100,000, and 10 million is 10 times as large as 1 million. So we want to see, how does this affect hundred thousands to millions? Well, it's 10 times as large. So 10 times 10 times as large as 100,000 is 10 million. So you may remember 10 times 10 is 100, and that's one way to think of it. But let's just look at this place value chart down in the ones area so we can get the same idea. So notice they differ by 2 place values, and this relationship carries through for the whole entire chart. So sometimes it's easy to look down at the ones. If we started at 1, 10 is 1 times as large as 1, and 100 is 10 times as large as 10. That's 2 place values. And it's really easy to see that 100 is 100 times as large as 1, because 1, when you multiply it by anything, you get that number. So this is a good way to compare if you're not that sure. So 10 million is 100 times larger than 100,000. So now we're going to look at the next one. And we have 7 10 billions is blank times larger than 700,000s. Okay, so let's find the 10 billions place and the 100,000s place. Okay. Oh, that's not 100,000, that's 10,000, excuse me. So here's the 10 billions, there's the 100,000s. Okay. Notice this one's a little bit different because it has a 7 in front of both of the numbers. So let's go ahead and look at some base blocks and see how or if that makes a difference. So I'm going to put 7 ones. So remember, these relationships carry through to the whole chart. So what is 10 times as large as 7? Well, that would be the same as replacing each of these 7s with a rod. So think of this one-to-one correspondence between each unit and each rod. Each rod is 10 times as large as each unit. So this is 70 and this is 7. And 70 is 10 times as large as 7. So since we're matching up the number of base blocks in each place value, each one will correspond and it won't affect our final place times as large answer. We just need to compare the place values. So let's go back. So to get from hundred thousands to 10 billions, we move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 place values. So they differ by 5 place values. And now I'm going to compare this by starting to 1. So this is 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. So let's see what this would be here if we started at 1 and went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The numbers we'd compare are 1 and 100,000. So 100,000 is 100,000 times as large as 1. So that's going to be our relationship. Okay. You may have noticed that here we move 2 place values and we have 2 zeros with a 1 in front. And here we moved 5 place values and we have 5 zeros with a 1 in front. And that pattern will always hold because multiplying by a factor of 10 adds a 0 to the number.